The most difficult thing to understand in life is the behavior of an enlightened person. An enlightened person always appears more or less like a madman. An enlightened person behaves from his center, never from the periphery.
In the effort to make Hinduism and India's religions generally understandable to Westerners, there is often discussed a trilogy of paths to salvation. An individual may pursue, perhaps eventually attain, salvation by the path of knowledge, the path of works, or the path of devotion. It is true that India's literatures have often tossed out these three options as broad rubrics for philosophical discussions. But even the most casual observer in India must admit that an individual's salvation, or Hinduism, are vastly more complex phenomena than any simple outline might allow. What is salvation? What are the transformations, personal transformations people undergo? Who and what are the agents of such transformation? There are several significant dimensions of Hinduism that receive insufficient study. I would like to discuss for a moment two such dimensions. First, the role of the teacher, the guru, the God-man or living saint in effecting transformation upon an individual or community. And second, the place of ecstasy or possession in salvation or transformation. Well known in the history of Indian religions is the role of the founder cum teacher, who attains enlightenment or salvation while living and then assembles a community of followers who accept his teachings, follow the path that he has revealed, and perpetuate his teachings as sacred texts. The Jaina saint Mahavira, Gautama Buddha, Guru Nanak of the Sikh faith, and numerous figures of the Hindu bhakti tradition could be cited as illustrations. The late Vedic tradition reveals to us the powerful spiritual relationship between the teacher, the acharya or guru, and his student. A relationship where initiation by the guru is equivalent to a second birth for the student disciple, and the sacred knowledge is assured continuity in the transmission from teacher to pupil. Sectarian Hinduism today perpetuates in both the Shaiva and the Vaishnava traditions the important role of initiation or diksha and the reception of an initiatory mantra from a guru as the first step on the path to liberation. The guru serves as a model of the way, and after his teaching ends, some visible, tangible symbol may serve as a sign to others. If he has become famous, perhaps his image, his samadhi or tomb, or his footprints will remain the objects of devotional attention from the community of disciples. Less familiar to students of Indian religions are the roles of ecstasy and divine or demonic possession, including what the early Christian community called charismatic behavior, or spirit baptism, as it became known to the Pentecostal movements. Such expressions are not textually represented and are not as visible as other religious phenomena. They are perhaps not as comfortable to Western observers and are thus considered religiously abnormal. But ecstatic expressions have been and still are very much a part of Hinduism. We are not just thinking of firewalking, skewering the body or other spectaculars, although these are still performed, but rather the phenomena of trance states and possession. As in this scene, the terrifying possession of a man by the ghost or demonic spirit of a recently deceased person. The world, especially the world of the Indian villager, is full of volatile, shadowy forces, which must be dealt with by fair means or foul. Everywhere are awesome powers and unpredictable beings that we who live in hyper-organized, demystified urban cultures can scarcely imagine. This woman, in a small urban shrine, has danced before an image of the goddess and has fallen now in ecstasy, realizing that the goddess has entered and possessed her body. And this man, an office worker in a large city, bending here in a routine set of offerings to the goddess Durga, suddenly, without warning, is seized with violent trembling and is propelled into a state of terrible ecstasy. It is, of course, the path of bhakti, devotion, that legitimizes emotional expression and provides community sanctions, whether for the ever-popular all-night bhajana singing that is part of the religious life of every village, town, and city, or for great, noisy festivals and pilgrimages. Ecstatic expressions are not only tolerated, but are in many circumstances fully anticipated. For someone to be carried away in devotion to the deity is entirely natural, for after all, it is the deity, not man, who is the power in this world. We are going to observe something of these two concerns, the role of the God-man and the place of ecstasy and possession, as they coalesce in one contemporary movement that has attracted followers from Europe and America and Australia, as well as from middle-class India. If the mid-19th century was a period of intense activity by Christian missionaries who traveled a sickly half-year by sea to convert the heathen, the mid-20th century counterpart appears to be an intense period of proselytization by Indian gurus who journey a routine half-day by air to convert the unenlightened. A glance at the entertainment section of any city newspaper will reveal ads for dozens of establishments centered upon a guru who may come by only once in 2 years, but whose disciples are busily teaching Hatha Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, Tantric meditation techniques, and a host of assorted things Indian, all competitively stamped as genuine wisdom of the East and most labeled as convenient and practical for the American way of life. Sometimes the wisdom can be expensive. As in India, some gurus are fools and charlatans, some are wise, lovable, and honorable teachers. And as in India, there are energetic communities of devotees drawn to each and all of them, which at the very least is an historic comment on the health of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Not all of the contemporary guru missionaries leave India. Some, in fact, virtually unknown in the West, are sought out by a few Westerners in India, and collections of disciples soon blossom into full-scale communities. One such community has surrounded the Acharya Rajnish, a former philosophy professor at Jabalpur University, who has now established his dynamic meditation camps in Pune in Western India. And hundreds of Westerners as well as Indians have come to hear his lectures and to participate in the extraordinary rigor, the discipline that he has designed for individual liberation. He lectures daily, first in Hindi and then in English, and his disciples, his followers, come to the meditation camp, offer puja to pictures of him, and then take their places for his lecture. He draws his illustrations from a variety of world religions, revealing a learnedness that is perhaps unique among contemporary gurus. And yet the devotional expression is entirely evident, as his followers call him Bhagwan. He is the God.
To an enlightened person, body is just a means. So if it is needed, then even an enlightened person will tell you to leave the body, but don't leave your inner being. The circumference is to be sacrificed for the center. This has to be remembered. When you live from the center, the outlook is totally different. Oneness is needed.
The illustrations that Rajneesh provides come from Taoism, Buddhism, Jainism, even Judaism and Christianity.
Many religions are there, many paths, many methods, but the essential point is the same. Become one. Whatsoever you choose, become one. If you can be infinitely patient, you will become one. If you can surrender totally, you will become one. If you become silent completely, you will become one. If there are no thoughts and you are in meditation, you will become one. If you pray to God and the prayer becomes so intense that even the person who is doing it is no more there. The person who is doing the prayer has become dissolved in the prayer. One has remained. That will do.
Rajneesh is constantly examining the nature and function of the guru, the emotional interplay of master and disciple.
Masters are cruel, otherwise they cannot be of any help to you. If you are in love with me, not an intellectual relationship, which is not a relationship at all, but a love relationship. If you are emotionally in touch with me, then it will go still deeper. Because when you love a person, you hear him from the heart, not from the head. And head is the most rotten thing, rubbish. Just the waste paper basket. Coming to understand, coming to realize that you are not the body. You are neither body nor mind. You are neither the body nor the mind. Then you come to know who you are. And to know who you are is enlightenment. You cannot force the right moment. It comes when it comes. You grow towards it. You grow towards it. And the master waits.
Bhagavan says a lot that you'll never get anywhere just by following your mind. Your mind is logical and rational, and that's not going to open any doors for you. It's by penetrating into your feelings and your body, the illogical part, the irrational part of you. You give way to those parts, and whenever... It's like getting onto a roller coaster, because once it starts, one feeling follows another very, very quickly. It's very powerful in their total feelings, you know, where everything comes together. Your mind and your body and your emotions, the whole bit comes together. But it's so violent sometimes that you just want to have a place where, I mean, the feelings can throw you to the ground. I've tried meditating according to other systems, with other people. But I kept screaming when you shouldn't scream. Then I heard about Shree Rajneesh, and I've been with him ever since. I screamed loud and long, twice a day for a year. Then just 2 weeks ago I stopped. Bhagavan says I'm through with that now.
Sitting in the middle. Those who want to have a divine healing, they should sit in the center, and healers taking part should aim to kill them. Please make a circle.
One of the meditations in this extraordinary juxtaposition of frenzied catharsis and silent meditation is called divine healing. And here the main healer stands over a group of those wishing to be exorcised, while the others dance around and drive out all of the illnesses and problems of the ones to be healed. The day has been spent largely in this kind of juxtaposition, starting at dawn with dynamic breathing and then working through silent meditation into the other ecstatic and silent routines. Finally, the day is closed by a remarkable preservation of the archaic Sufi whirling techniques. a technique which is still being perfected by the Rajneesh meditation camps. This is performed by Westerners and by Indians for an hour and a half to music that slowly increases in tempo. The whirler remains in a single position, whirling, learning to do this day by day, until finally he reaches a state which throws him to the ground in trance, sometimes ecstasy. One feels the curious dichotomy, the polarization between those who jump and scream or whirl and dance and their mild, soft-spoken, slow-moving guru. For he has gone beyond all the frenetic displays required of the devotees. They are still learning how to deal with the non-rational, the irrational forces in their bodies and minds. And the various meditations are designed to unleash these forces and to realize and control bodily and mental energies.
When I whirl, I feel like I'm at the center of the universe, at the navel. It's like I'm not spinning at all. Everything else is. It's like spinning out of your mind.
We began our discussion with reference to the problem of articulating certain Hindu expressions to Westerners, specifically the guru-disciple relationship and the phenomenon of ecstasy. And yet here are Westerners attempting to live just these expressions. What is the appeal of this teacher who says that the behavior of an enlightened person is that of a madman? He is not a miracle worker, nor the flashy huckster of the fashion of some gurus. His many books are occasionally interesting, but the prose is clouded over with traditional bombast and misdirected metaphors. The appeal seems more to lie in the personal encounter. Over and over again, I heard the sannyasis, as the disciples like to call themselves, say, "I fell in love with him." One young man, a university graduate from New York City, told me that he had come to Pune to extricate his girlfriend from this freak show, as he put it. But then he said, "I met Bhagavan and things began to change. I'm really in love with him." The phrase, "I surrendered to him," is also frequent and traditional. The change is marked by participation in an emotionally charged community, and the sannyasi takes on a new name, a Sanskrit name, adopts the common apparel, and adjusts himself to the physiological routine. The same appeal is to middle-class Indians as well, for they make up at least half of the community, and perhaps they are drawn for some of the same reasons as their European and American counterparts. By their affluence, their education, their goal-oriented lifestyles, they are cut off from the traditional grassroots religious expressions. The sannyasis take the responsibility of spreading the word quite seriously, and many of the people that we have seen in these films are now busily establishing centers of devotion to Rajneesh in various parts of India, in London, Geneva, Paris, New York, San Francisco, Sydney. This man has recently returned to his home city to establish a meditation center for Rajneesh. He described his experiences to me in language typical of the cult.
Rajnish says in a booklet called Yoga as a Spontaneous Happening that traditional yoga is not much good for people nowadays. If you do these set postures, that's not really where you're at. It's just imposing something on you. And it might be good as physical exercise, but it's really no good for your progress. And that his form of meditation It just happens. Whatever's suitable for you at the time will happen, and all you've got to do is to allow it. Once, suddenly I felt this outside force come into me, just rush through my body. I could feel it at a molecular level, sort of a cellular level. There's a talk where I heard Rajnish once where he said that what it's all about is total orgasm, where every cell of your body is both male and female. And realization is when every cell of your body exists in orgasm. The male part is combined with the female part. And I felt this great union, this great wholeness, all through my body.
It remains to be seen whether these new missionary centers will survive the tough competition of Western cities with their cult consciousness and their voracious appetites for the new, the bizarre, the extreme. Having looked at this lively cult of one contemporary guru, we might observe with Polonius, though this be madness, yet there's method in it.